He'll be here at 6:37.
All right. Ready? All right. It's now 6:31 p.m. and I'd like to call to order this Fenton Township Board meeting on the 19th day of December, 2023. I'd please ask everyone to stand for the opening prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Gopal, will you please lead us?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, your wisdom, and your support as we begin this meeting. Help us engage in meaningful discussion. Allow us to grow closer as a group and nurture the bonds of community. We ask for peace in the warring countries. Bless the sick, the injured, and those who have passed as we pray for an end to the conflicts that exist today. We ask this in your most holy name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As always, Mark, thanks. Clerk Crew, will you please call the roll?
Should I start with Tucker? No. Lorraine,
Present.
Reed,
Here.
Kotrick,
Present.
Krug is present, Kessler,
Here.
Gopal.
Here.
No, he's not coming through the door. So you have 6 members present.
We have a quorum. All right. I'd like to note, for the record, that Township Attorney Jack Belzer, our Operations Manager Tom Broker, and Fire Chief Ryan Boltz are also present. Additionally, no. I'm sorry. I'm looking back there. Yeah.
Julia's on.
All right. Well, I thought that Alan and Melissa were going to be on, but additionally, the following township officials are presently via Zoom: our Township Assessor Julia Wilson, and I think our Township Engineers Alan and Melissa Lawrence will be joining us, but they have not right at this point. All right, Tom, will you detail the procedures for those attending tonight's virtual meeting?
Yes, to the members of the public attending tonight's meeting in person or via Zoom, please be advised the meeting is being recorded to be shown on Public Access TV, Spectrum Channel 191. Recorded meetings are also posted on the Fenton Area Community Television YouTube channel. For those attending via Zoom, we ask that you keep your microphone muted until we reach portions of the meeting where public comment is allowed. For tonight's meeting, there are no public hearings, therefore all public comment will be taken near the end of the meeting. Meeting materials are available for download on the Township's website at fentontownship.org.
Tucker,
All right.
you have a full board now.
Thanks, Tom. All right, moving on to the first business of order is approval of the agenda. Are there any requests to amend tonight's agenda? Hearing none, a motion is in order to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
I vote yes. Kotrick,
Yes.
Kessler,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Gopal,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
Tucker.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, agenda stands approved as presented. Moving on to the next business in order is the meeting minutes. Included in the packet are the meeting minutes from the December 5th regular meeting. Are there any corrections or requested revisions to the meeting minutes? Hearing none, the meeting minutes stand approved as presented. Moving on to expenditures. Are there any questions from the board regarding any of the invoices?
Question for Tom. We're funding the healthcare accounts. Is that something that arises out of the collective bargaining agreement? $42,000?
The HSA?
HSA, yeah.
Yeah, that's part of the process we've had in place for a number of years. It's, the 80/20 is based on the premium plus the funded deductible. So the amount of the deductible is funded into the HSA, and that's all combined before the 80/20 split is done.
That's what I wanted to know. You probably told me this before, but
It's not new.
I know, yeah. New to my brain, though.
Any other questions regarding any of the invoices? Hearing none, a motion is in order to approve the expenditures totaling $178,856.31 for payment.
So moved.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Reed,
Yes.
Gopal,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Kessler,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
Kotrick,
Yes.
and Krug votes yes. Motion passes.
Thanks, Bob. All right, expenditures stand approved as presented. Moving on to public hearings. Tonight we have none. Reports, are there any committee reports to be made to the board this evening? It's going to be a quick meeting. All right, moving on to communications. None. Adoption of ordinances, none. All right, moving on to the next business in order is unfinished business. This is to schedule a special meeting for January 16th. What I'd like to do is schedule a special meeting at 5:15 p.m. on January 16th, just prior to our regular board meeting. Could everybody check their schedules and see if that works? Again, it's prior to our
Yep.
regular scheduled meeting. Everybody okay with that?
I'm actually gonna be out of town.
Shocker.
And where are we
I
gonna be
wonder,
on
I
the
wonder what
cruise
he
at?
would be doing.
Cruise number 9.
I got prior commitments.
Could you be more specific?
All right. We are all set with that.
Already marked him absent.
All right.
Might as well keep marking, Bob.
Next order of business is new business. This is resolution number 2023-50, honoring former Planning Commissioner Mark Mastola. At our last meeting, the board accepted the resignation of longtime Planning Commissioner Mark Mastola, who has moved out of the community. A resolution has been drafted to honor Mark for his years of service. Resolution number 2023-50. Clerk, will you please present the resolution? in
Mr.
its
Broker's gonna do that for me. I finally
Oh,
coughed.
I'm sorry. Tom, will you please read that resolution in its entirety, please?
Certainly. Resolution number 2023-50, whereas Mark E. Mastola has stepped down from his position on the Fenton Township Planning Commission, and whereas Mr. Mastola was a resident of Fenton Township for many years, during which time he contributed greatly to the progress and welfare of the community, most notably as a member of the Fenton Township Planning Commission. And whereas Mr. Mastola served loyally and faithfully as the Fenton Township Planning Commissioner from 1995 to 2003, and again from 2017 to 2023, his insightfulness, wisdom, vision, and dedication were a true asset to the Planning Commission throughout his tenure as an appointed official. Now therefore be it resolved that the Township Board of the Charter Township of Fenton hereby recognizes Mark E. Mastola for his valuable contributions to our community and expresses sincere appreciation and gratitude for his dedicated service to the government and citizens of Fenton Township. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be spread upon the minutes of this meeting and a copy provided to Mr. Mastola.
I will move the resolution.
All right.
Support.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Contract,
Yes.
Kessler,
Yes.
I vote yes. Gopel,
Yes?
Tucker,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
resolution passes.
All right, thanks, Bob. Next under new business is proposed agreement, temporary use of township property. Excuse me. I'm sure you've reviewed, all of us have reviewed the agreement in our packet. Just to give you a little history, Scott Prell, he is from PE Superior Excavating. He called me about 3 weeks ago, and they are the excavating company that will be working on phase 2 of the water project. Oh, phase 3, you're right, sorry.
I didn't interrupt.
No, that's fine. Phase 3, and the township has some property, and he asked if we would be willing to lease the property. After conversations with our attorney Belser and with Tom, we put together the agreement. The agreement has been reviewed by our attorney, Jack Belser. Jack, do you have anything you'd like to?
Nothing. Tom and I talked ahead of time, and I have no other issues to bring up.
All right.
Sadly, I do. This agreement is not particularly great.
No.
Term of art is a POS agreement, but we won't go into that. It claims it's a license agreement. Licenses are fully terminable at will. It specifically says it's not. So we need to think of this as a lease, which I don't have a problem with, okay? But it's mislabeled as such. We need to add something in here with respect to required insurance that ensures the township is.
I thought that was in there.
Yeah,
No,
That's
there's
in there,
there's
Jeff.
Tom and
indemnity.
I talked about.
There's indemnity, there's no insurance. And the
All right.
indemnity language needs, if somebody can just get it to me in Word or Word Perfect, I will fix it.
Okay.
It is not deficient, but for the board, it is not sufficient. It is deficient. For the board's purposes, you need to think of it as a lease, not as a license, because it is not.
Yeah, I agree with that, it really is a lease, but paragraph 4 indemnifies the township.
Yeah, it doesn't require insurance coverage and being named as an additional named
Additional insured, I agree with.
I'll fix, it's not a big,
Treasurer Tucker on that.
fix, but it needs some work. The other question that I have, it says they're gonna plant 5 trees. We're lacking specificity here. Are we talking about trees that are consistent with the zoning ordinance? Are we talking about Charlie Brown Christmas trees? What are we expecting in return for this? I expect this is primarily gratuitous, but I would at least like to be precise about what we're supposed to be getting.
Well, just to answer your question, when Scott and I talked, and I talked to Tom afterwards, he's kind of got an urgent need because he has a lot of stuff coming in for phase 3 that he needs to store. And he has nowhere to store it right now. And actually, it was going to arrive, I think, last Monday, and he held off until this meeting. He has said that he has done this several times in other municipalities, and he said, listen, I'm going to, whatever we do to it, it will be in better condition than what we left it, including if you want us to plant trees. And I said, well, absolutely, plant some trees. So it was just a conversation. So I didn't think anybody on the board would want to get right into specifics. I agree with your insurance. But here's my concern is that he has materials that are temporarily being stored by the county, that the county doesn't want him to keep there, and he'd like to keep it near the job. So is there a way that we can do this?
Just approve it with the
Approve it with the
yeah.
changes.
With amendments or?
Subject to.
Subject to the
Subject
changes
to change.
by Treasurer Tucker.
Yeah.
And as I understand, this property is just a detention inn.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the
Yeah,
property,
I went over and looked at the property. I mean,
Are trees a good thing on that kind of thing? I mean, I don't know. Do we want them?
we can tell him to do whatever we want.
Yeah,
He doesn't really
alright.
care. He just said, I'll leave it in better condition than what.
Do we have it in Word?
I think it's only PDF, but I can convert it easily and send it to you.
Because I can knock on wood again. I'll just, if you get over tomorrow, I'll get it back to you tomorrow, so we don't hold them up here, but,
Would you like to make the motion?
yeah.
If we're taking comment, I think Mr. McKeon put in a chat that he had some questions.
Oh,
I don't know if you can see what's in the chat.
no, I cannot see what's in the chat.
If you click on more,
To the right
on
there.
the far right,
Don, if you'd like to unmute your mic,
chat.
I'll be glad to listen to any comments.
Get rid of that message over the top, although I can't read it.
Where it says continue the conversation if you X.
And
also,
also,
what
what
is
is
the
the
lease
lease period? If we lease this, believe property should be placed on the tax roll, I think we were saying. Other things, they're using it for township. Why are we leasing, using it for township? Also, what is the lease period? Well, we can answer one of them. The lease period is
6 months, wasn't it?
now till June 27th
June
of 2024. It's the day before my birthday. I must be getting a birthday present or something. Day
get a
afterwards. I get a tree, yeah, a Tucker tree. We'll call it a Tucker tree. Yeah, it's a lease, but we're getting a tree. We're not really getting anything of value.
A dollar.
You know, it's nominal value. And, you know, is it a township, does it benefit the township? Sure, we're putting in water line. We're helping
That's what I
contractors
thought.
that are helping us do what we're trying to do. And
It's been sitting there.
it's available.
It's available.
And as long as we got protections that I'm talking about.
And any
insurance
cost to
and
move
indemnity.
that, whatever he's gonna store there, is gonna be put onto the bill. So
Yeah.
it's gonna save our residents, township residents, money. So I don't see charging him anything, and we're talking about 6 months of property we
Right.
haven't used, so.
So I'd make a motion to approve this conditionally, subject to my review and approval of the terms that I talked about already, that I don't feel like restating here.
Support.
Did you
Support.
support? All right. Motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Gopel,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
I wanna read that again. Lorraine,
Yes.
Cotter,
Yes.
I vote yes. Reed,
Yes,
Kessler,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thanks, Bob. All right, next under new business, proposed amended work plan with RS Engineering Agreement, Thompson Road Bridge Project. I'm sure we've all reviewed the memo in our packets. I'll give you a little bit of history. For the last, we're all familiar with the bridge project that we've been working on. For about the last 7 months, we've had meetings every month with MDOT, the county, RS Engineering. It's the first part. There was an RFP put out, and this engineering portion was about figuring out what was going to be the best way to redo the bridge. Was it going to be a 2-lane with this, a 3-lane, a 4-lane with a turn lane, that sort of stuff? Well, we're at the phase right now, or we finished up that phase, and the next phase will be to go into public hearings that we will hold with the public, that sort of stuff. So since the township received the $10 million that we were able to get through appropriations, MDOT's never really been in this position before. So in doing this, what I'm asking is very customary. MDOT does it all the time. So the original RFP was for a scope of business. What they want to do is they want to have them continue as we go on without waiting for the second phase and going through the whole RFP process, which takes with MDOT about 6 to 9 months. By doing this, which again, it has no cost to the township or anything like that, it will kind of mitigate that 6 to 9 months and allow the process to move forward so we can be 6 to 9 months ahead of actually being able to redo the bridge. I put together something here just to kind of summarize, and I'll make it quick. This is basically to efficiently transition from the current alternative development process, which is the first phase, to final design, amending RS Engineering's current contract to requested so that they can begin the initial design up to approximately 20% completion. This effort will help fully identify real estate, environmental, and utility impacts along with allowing more refined cost estimate. The remaining portion of the design will be selected through MDOT's contracting process, which takes approximately 6 to 9 months. The requested amendment with RS Engineering by allowing them to continue their current effort while MDOT conducts the contracting process for the final design, saving the stated 6 to 9 months. So basically,
Who determines the final design? Is it MDOT? I mean,
yes.
they're the road pro. They're the
We
ones
have-
that are going to determine whether it's a 3-lane, a 4-lane, or whatever.
Well, to answer your question,
I'm just curious.
it is MDOT,
Yeah.
but since we received the funding, we are put in a position that we could choose. But we have decided through, they're just doing it. Yeah. So really, it's the first time that a municipality like us has received the $10 million from appropriations. It usually takes, 7 to 10 years? We're going to do it in a couple of years. They haven't done it before. They're just saying, this is what happens. We need you to do the same thing, but since you have the money, we need board approval.
Thank you.
Everyone understand that? All right. All right. Any other questions or comments from the board?
And so an RFP is not required?
Yes, for phase 2, but the process would stop right now. And they need the current engineering firm, which they always do in the past, is to keep moving to prepare all this other stuff so MDOT can put together all the information that's needed for phase 2 RFP. If not, then MDOT's going to have to come in, do all the work, which would take 6 to 9 months before they even have the information to put out the RFP. That's the way I understand it. And Mike is, our zoning administrator that usually sits on these with me, is in Florida with his kids at Disney. So,
Good for it.
yes. So,
Yeah,
any
I
other
just want to be sure that no one can come back to us and say, we didn't give other engineering firms the opportunity
No.
to bid. for
This is very
phase.
common.
So,
That's,
okay.
this is the process, but since we received the money, we have the money, we have to authorize that extension.
And this just takes it out to 20%
Correct.
completion, and MDOT is the one who's saying, this is what you need to do.
Or, yeah. All right, I need a motion to approve revised work plan for the engineering agreement with RS Engineering as presented.
I'll move the motion.
Support.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Kessler,
Yes.
I vote yes. Reed,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
Cottrell,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Gopel.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thanks, Bob. All right, next under new business is proposed election inspector pay scale. Operations Manager, I was gonna call on you. Bob, do you still want me to defer to?
Yeah, let Tom
All right,
go.
Tom, will you please review?
Sure. As I've outlined we've outlined in the memo, among the many changes brought about by proposal 2022-2, we need to update our election worker pay scale to accommodate some of those changes. The two changes we're referring to are early voting. So election inspectors will be assigned to the early voting site, will work approximately 8 to 9 hours per day, each day of the 9-day early voting period, which starts the second Saturday prior to the election and concludes the Sunday before the election. And the board has previously already approved the hours, which will be 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. each day, except Wednesday, which will be noon to 8 p.m. And so rather than the full day amounts that we do for election day, we're proposing hourly rates, $15 per hour for the chairperson and $12 per hour for the inspectors. And those are comparable to the hourly breakdown of the $250 and $200 they get on election day. Then we also have the ability, which we plan to take advantage of, for early processing of absentee ballots. Anytime beginning 8 days before the election, we can bring in our AD counting board workers, set up just like it's election day, open ballots, process them, tabulate them, and then when we complete everything we have up to that date, shut everything down, lock it up, seal it up, and wait for election day, and then we pick up from there and finish it off. The big advantage of that is we eliminate the 17, 18-hour days for some of these people who are on the fence whether they want to keep doing this for that many hours, where we can maybe break it down to a couple of 8-hour days. And it just makes our returns finish a little sooner, and they'd be able to start election day probably at lunchtime rather than be here at the crack of dawn. So again, we're looking for the same wages there, hourly wage, 15 per hour for chairpersons, 12 for inspectors.
Thanks, Tom.
This has been brought on, we spent what, 6 hours, 8 hours?
6 or 8.
In a training about early voting, and we're trying to set it up as fast as we can, because when we asked the state some specific questions, it was like, we'll have an answer for that in January. Okay? And no later than February, we'll do votes in February.
Yeah, I was gonna say that votes in
But,
February.
so I mean, we're trying to get the salaries and everything set up. If you remember, we voted last time or the time before about this being an early voting site, so it's gonna be real exciting or real boring, depending on the turnout.
Thanks, Bob. Any other questions?
Yeah. Do we think we're gonna have enough workers to cover the early hours?
Yeah, we had a list,
Yeah.
and there are a couple that want to work all 9 days. Others are 3 or 4 days. I think the best day is the one that starts at noon and goes to 8. But no, I think we'll have enough qualified, and luckily we can use our same inspectors we use at the big election, because it's prior to. So it'll give some new people an opportunity to be a chair for that precinct. because it's the same as if you're chair during the normal election, so it should be interesting. Tom and Megan have worked real hard on trying to make sure we're on solid ground. And we'll find out the first day of early voting if it works.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Okay, I need a motion to approve the election worker pay scale as presented.
So moved. Oh, support.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Tucker,
Yes.
Lorraine.
Yes.
Gopel. Kessler,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Kotrek.
Yes.
I vote yes, motion passes.
Thanks, Bob.
Yep.
Next under new business is resolution number 2023-51, proposed Lake Channel Improvement Special Assessment District, Lake Panema Channels. Operations Manager Boker, will you review, please?
Yes, property owners that live on the canals or channels on Lake Panema have asked the Township Board to initiate proceedings to create a special assessment district for needed improvements, specifically dredging and removing materials from the channels to make it easier for the boats to get up and down. This would be the third time it's been done under special assessment since I've been here. It was done in 1997, again in 2009. But over time, the erosion and watercraft activity will result in a sediment buildup in the channels that just requires removal to maintain an adequate waterway for the boats. So rather than force them to do a petition this time, since it's been done twice before, I told them we would initiate it by board resolution. Of course, if 20% object, then they'd have to go back for a petition. But it's one of those things where if you live on the canal, this is going to benefit you, and I can't imagine too many people being upset. Now, the cost is a lot higher this time around for a number of different reasons, but they're still looking at, if it gets approved, about $1,500 per property owner, which we could do over a 5-year period. So what we have before the board tonight is simply a resolution to schedule a hearing on the creation of the district at the January 16th meeting.
Thanks, Tom. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
The only comment I have, maybe it's a question, it talks about all properties with frontage on and/or legal access to the channels. That ain't quite right.
We took that from the last time, and I was thinking that might be a little.
That's a little overbroad here.
Yeah, we can.
I know from 100, there's 111 of them, so I know where you're going.
Yeah.
And actually, when I first was thinking about this, I thought this was what was going into, I'll say squaw, but whatever the current name is of that particular body, and that dawned on me which ones we're talking about here. So I know what you're trying to do, and I know the 111, but are there any that don't have frontage? Can you just leave it so the properties with frontage on the channels?
I can check it. And again, the resolution that's tentative. When we create the district, we can make sure. I mean, we could, to make it real solid, we could just list all 111 properties in the resolution. That could be done.
I'm not trying to be a pain in the neck,
No,
but I would like it to be
No, I think it's a good
precise.
point. No, I think it's a good point.
So, but
That'd be the best way to do it, too.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about the language, just list them.
We can do that very easily.
And then you've created the district, and there's no questions.
Because it's the same parcels that have been assessed the last 2 times.
yeah,
And
Okay.
so.
know the intention,
We
but
just do it that way, yeah.
Yeah.
What we could do is, for purposes of the resolution, we could just amend the resolution to say, all properties fronting the channels. I think that would be sufficient for this resolution.
And we're just talking about that one set of channels
Yes.
that goes up
North,
into Landing's
Landing's
Way.
Landing's Way,
Yeah.
yes.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Okay, resolution number 2023-51. Clerk Krug, will you please present the resolution?
Yes. Tentatively declares the township's intent to improve the Lake Panema channels through clearing and/or widening. Tentatively designates the special assessment district as Lake Panema Channel Improvement Special Assessment District Number 3, which includes all properties with frontage on Lake Panema Channel. Schedule a public hearing for January 16th, 2024, at the regular Township Board meeting, directs the clerk to publish and mail the hearing notices in accordance with statute, and repeals any conflicting resolutions. I'll move the resolution.
As amended, right? As amended.
As,
Yeah,
as
I mean,
amended.
you
Yeah,
read
that's
the
what I
amendment, so
said.
I don't know what the right nomenclature is there. I'll second it.
That's right.
We'll get it figured out.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Crew, will you please call the roll?
Lorraine,
Yes.
Kotrick,
Yes.
Kessler,
Yes.
Tucker.
Yes.
I vote yes. Reed,
Yes.
resolution passes.
All right.
I vote yes too. For the record.
Good to,
Well,
good to know,
I'll put you
Mark.
down.
Good to know.
I'm sorry. As amended, Mr. Gopel, how do you vote?
Invisible, apparently.
Misty come across my face and I
Okay,
missed
I
your
had
name.
to know. Don't ask.
All right.
Oh.
All right, next under new business is proposed amendments to our 2023 Fenton Township budget. Operations Manager Broker, will you please review?
Yes, included in the packet is the final budget amendment for 2023. So we're doing amendments across a number of the funds, mostly just matching up to the new projections for everything. Not a lot of major changes. I've highlighted a few. In the general fund, we did recalculate the admin costs for the various fund, like sewer fund and the other special revenue funds, and that it resulted in a $25,000 increase on the sewer admin cost. It's been the same for about 10 years, I think. Increase to the special assessment revenue for Enid Boulevard due to some higher than expected payoffs. Adjusting medical insurance to match actual year end. $45,000 increase to road expenditures. If you remember, the board approved one more limestone project after the initial batch. It's for Hogan Road. Decrease to planning and zoning expenditures as the completion of the master plan won't be done till '24, so we'll be moving that to the '24 budget. And a decrease to museum expenditures. Some proposed well and sewer improvements for the museum property are being moved to '24 as well. The net effect of the proposed general fund amendments is an increase to the fund balance of $33,000, leaves an overall budget shortfall of about $354,000, but the projected actual is only about $82,500. And since that includes $150 of reserve fund balance for Hogan Road Bridge, the unrestricted fund balance is now looking like it'll be increasing about $70,000 for the year. I was talking to Vince earlier today, considering the amount of money we spent this year on one-time projects, we're in very good position. Private road maintenance, SAD fund, increase to revenues to reflect actual totals, increase expenditures just to allow for any potential last-minute expenditures without going over budget. Fire fund, we took the dollars out of the new truck expenditures, as that the aerial truck will not be, it's not expected till late '24 or early '25. The increase $149,000 to debt service because we did have to pay the first installment on that installment purchase agreement for the ladder truck. Fire fund, looking to have unrestricted fund balance around $500,000 at the end of the year. And with the $1.16 million in reserve fund balance waiting for the truck. Solid waste, increased the interest revenue due to higher interest rates. Sewer fund, same thing with interest. The admin cost, $25,000, we talked about that. Increases to repairs and emergency calls. Repairs, we had a couple of sewer line breaks this year that upped that expense. Had a lot of power outages this year that bumped our emergency calls up. Also, a $100,000 increase for the sewer video inspection project that the board approved recently. And then increase to equipment-related expenditures to match year-end actual totals. We're projecting just a small increase to cash reserves, maybe around $15,000 in the sewer fund. Water fund, we've got some changes or proposed changes, as you see lined up there. Quite honestly, nothing's really happening financially yet, so chances are these things won't hit the books this year. it's still kind of a moving target until we really get things rolling. But we are adjusting for potential bond sales, which at this point couldn't happen this year anyway, but also in case we have to spend some of the ARPA funds this year. So the proposed budget amendments in the streetlight SAD fund and the mosquito abatement fund are very minor, not worth mentioning. And there are no proposed amendments for the dog park fund or the lake improvement SAD fund. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thanks, Tom. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
Was that always the timeline on the ladder truck, or had it been delayed?
Late 24, early 25, Chief, for the ladder?
Late 25,
Late 25, okay.
September.
Is that a change? No, I thought that was
Okay.
the original.
I've misunderstood.
So it's always a 3-year build.
Okay.
Wow. That's all I have to say is wow. That's crazy that it takes that long to retrofit.
Any other comments or questions? One thing I will say is that today we turned on the water for phase 1. Chief was out checking all of the, what did you actually do today? You were checking all the hydrants, weren't you?
We're supposed to be putting storage fittings on the 4-inch threads.
Okay,
They will do that after our walkthrough on Thursday of next week.
so all of you residents,
Now they're fully functional.
oh, sorry, Chief. So all of you residents or businesses that have been waiting to connect, starting, well, I'm sure they won't be starting until after the first of the year, but they're able to connect now, and Tom's got applications for,
So we can
3 or
sell
4.
water today.
well, they got to connect. So
Well, I
I don't know
know,
when they're
but-
going to connect. Yes, we can sell water today.
Okay.
I also recommend they go to their insurance providers and look for their new adjustment in their insurance rate. They'll be rated for 6, so their insurance should go down.
Now, that's not township-wide, that's only along
That's
the
only along where the
hydrants are at.
Right.
So I just wanted, I knew that, but I just wanted to make sure they
Minimum
clarified.
1,000 foot of the hydrant.
And what is the savings you estimated?
Well, for the Township Road corridor, it's probably gonna be in the area of probably about $150,000 to $200,000, just in that area.
No, I mean, what's the savings percentage-wise per connection or resident?
For like the overall township,
No,
No,
just,
just for individual.
you said they're going to save money on their insurance, homeowners insurance.
yeah, that's gonna drop, I think it's like 30%,
Well, that's a lot.
Wow.
25 to 30%.
That's a lot.
While we're on water, do we know when we're gonna get the water to the schools?
Yes, I met with the
Projected.
schools last week. It's going to be, well, it may be available sooner, but not going to turn it on till the end of your 3rd quarter or 4th quarter of 2024. But I think most of the work on the schools is going to be during the summer when they're off.
Well, I
So
think
all
that-
that's being worked on right now.
I think that's so important to everybody in the township, because most everybody has children, grandchildren going to the Lake Fenton schools, and they finally can
Connect
get
to
a
the water.
drink out of the drinking fountain instead of taking a bottle of water every day.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments from the board on the budget? I just wanted to bring that up since he was talking about water. All right, I need a motion to adopt adjustments to the 2023 Fenton Township budget as presented.
So moved. Support.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Clerk Crew, will you please call the roll?
Kessler,
Yes.
Gopel, Krug votes yes, Reed,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thanks, Bob. All right, moving on to the next business order is board comment. Is there anyone on the board who has an additional comments or concerns?
I would like to give the board a heads up. We are going to be pulling sewer up Jennings Road, AKA Brown Boulevard, sometime, I think within the next year. I think it's going to go to Thompson. I have contacted Alan Lawrence because at the planning commission level, we have received a site plan for a gas station facility on the north side between the freeway and Jennings Road. And we have water there, but we don't have sewer. And that's high-level ridiculous, okay? So I've talked to Alan about it. He's indicated we can do it. He sent me a text that said it'd be $1 more. I think he probably means $1 million more, but I don't know. But I think I will advocate that we as a board may need to create a special assessment district to put that in, but we need sewer there because this is gonna be taken off, and I don't want a bunch of sewer systems. And this particular one would require an engineered system, so the applicant actually wants municipal sewer available as well. But I've never ever seen a scenario where you got water but you didn't have sewer. I've seen it the other way around a million times.
Correct.
So when we get to that point, and we're not at that point, I'm just telling you what's percolating down the road as we get into that project where we take the sewer up Jennings. I'm going to advocate that it turns the corner and heads east for that roughly half a mile.
Half a mile.
Yeah.
And you are correct. It's, if there's water, there's sewer.
Yes.
So
That's
it's
the way
a
it
project
goes.
where we are gonna have to proceed.
And it's going to build. I mean, it's already. That's why they're there.
It's already
You know,
there.
that's the water's already doing it.
All right, any other comments or concerns from the board? All right, moving on to the next business order, which is public comment on agenda or non-agenda items. We will now open the meeting for public comment on agenda or non-agenda items. Is there anyone in the audience? Mr. Young. Please come up, just tell us who you are. I think we all know who you are, but
Thank you. My name is Paul Young. I'm from Grand Blanc Township, and I'm here in Fenton Township tonight to share a little bit of news and maybe take advantage of public comment to do a little bit of introduction. That news, as you may know, our longtime Congressman Dan Kildee announced just last month that he will not be seeking re-election. I am the Republican who ran against Dan last time, and so another announcement I'm making that I've already made just a couple weeks ago is that I will again be seeking the office of representative for Michigan's 8th District. Probably most of you know the 8th District is basically all of Genesee County, all of Saginaw County, all of Bay County, and just about all of Midland County, about 780,000 people in that district. I want to make a pledge to this elected body, which represents the people of Fenton Township, that should I be successful in my effort to be your next member of Congress, I will look forward. I've already met a number of you and know you somewhat, but I hope over the course of the campaign I'll get to know you even better, because I pledge to be an effective voice for you in Washington for the projects that you would need support from the federal government to make sure that you serve the members of your community. Just briefly about me, I'm a Michigan native. I was born in Ann Arbor, Michigan, as were both my brothers. Lots of aunts and uncles, grandparents, cousins from throughout the state. I live in Grand Blanc now. A little bit about my professional background. My dad started in the auto industry, but eventually built a business maintaining military family housing. So if we won a contract at an Army, Navy, Air Force base, they had apartment buildings and homes for the service personnel and their families. We would hire painters, plumbers, carpenters to do that work. I worked in that family business for a number of years. I'm also an attorney. About the only practice of law that I did was I was a county prosecutor, or worked in a county prosecutor's office, mostly working on domestic violence cases. And then finally, the part of my professional background I'd share with you that I think is relevant to the office that I seek is I have worked on Capitol Hill. I was an investigative counsel for Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa, and then did work briefly in the Department of Homeland Security on border and immigration issues. So I think as compared to many candidates, I'm someone who would come prepared, and as I say, I would pledge to continue to get to know you better, so that working with you, I can serve the people of this community and all through Michigan's 8th District. Thank you for the opportunity to address the board tonight. Thank you.
Mr. Young,
Thank you.
appreciate it. Is there anyone else that's in attendance tonight? Sean? We have our county commissioner here. Done great things for this township. Is there anything you'd like to come up and say?
Just Merry Christmas.
All right. Anybody else in the audience that would like to address the board? Hearing none, we'll move on to Zoom. Is there anyone attending tonight's meeting virtually via Zoom that would like to address the board? I see a shaking of a no and a head. Don? What do you say?
Thank you.
No, thank you. Julia? Okay. All right. So if there's nobody here in attendance that would like to address the board, nor that's joined us virtually via Zoom, before we adjourn, like in Thanksgiving, I'd like to wish this board, the staff that we have attending here, all those attending in person by Zoom, and those who may watch our meeting via YouTube, I wish you all a Merry Christmas, happy, healthy, prosperous New Year, Love you all. Appreciate it. And if there's nothing else, it's now 7:17 p.m. Oh, yes, I forgot one big one. Thank you. And go blue.
Go blue.
If there's nothing else, I say good night. The meeting's adjourned.